She used to be just my neighbor, until she showed up and said, I choose you. The red-orange sun of the frontier planet, Novara 3, rose slowly over the domed colony, painting the sky in muted shades that looked almost like Earth sunsets, but not quite. He rubbed the sleep from his eyes and pulled on his work jumpsuit, the fabric stiff from weeks of dust and solar wind. Life here was quiet, predictable, and safe, just the way he liked it. He lived on the edge of the settlement, in a small, angular house with solar panels on the roof, and a view of the barren plains stretching out toward the jagged mountains in the distance. The wind whistled across the plains, carrying tiny specks of red dust, but it was a comforting sound to Kale. He liked the emptiness. It made life simple. Next door, Leora's house had always been a little brighter, a little cleaner, a little more alive. Kale remembered when they first met years ago. She had been new to the colony, full of energy and curiosity. She was his neighbor, someone who borrowed tools, shared recipes, and laughed easily in the common courtyard. And then one day she left. No explanations. No goodbyes. Just gone. At first, Kale didn't think much of it. People left colonies all the time, heading to distant stations, research missions, or trade convoys. Life on Novara 3 was not permanent. Everyone understood that. But when months turned into years and Leora's house remained empty, a strange quietness settled over her little corner of the colony. Kale sometimes passed it on his way to work, noticing the stillness, and felt a tug of longing he didn't understand. On this morning, Kale followed his usual routine. He checked the solar grids, ran diagnostics on the water filtration system, and fixed a small leak in the oxygen regulator. Everything worked fine. Routine was comforting. But as he returned to his house carrying a small toolbox, he noticed something strange. There was a figure standing at his front door. Kale froze. The figure was unmistakable. Leora. Her hair had grown longer and she looked tired, but her eyes, bright, mischievous, unshakably alive, were the same as he remembered. He blinked, wondering if his mind was playing tricks on him. "Leora?" he asked, his voice cracking slightly. She smiled, a smile that seemed to hold years of untold stories. "Kale," she said softly. Then, after a pause, she added the words that made his heart stop. "I choose you." The words were simple, almost casual, but the weight behind them was enormous. Kale opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. She stepped closer, her boots leaving faint marks in the thin dust on the porch. "I know this must be sudden," she said, "but I had to find you. I couldn't go any further without coming back here first." Kale finally managed to step back, gesturing for her to enter. You left. You were gone for years. What happened?" Leora looked down at her hands, then back up at him. "I was far away," she said. "Farther than anyone from this colony has ever been. I saw things, Kale, things that I never could have imagined." Kale helped her inside, noticing the subtle changes in her appearance, scars hidden under her clothing, a faint glow to her eyes that wasn't natural. She carried herself differently, too, as if the universe had shifted beneath her feet and she had learned to walk on its new rules. "Tell me," Kale said, pulling a chair for her. "I need to know." She sat slowly, her gaze never leaving his. "It's complicated," she said. "But I'll try to make it simple. I was chosen for a mission beyond our solar system, a mission to explore, to understand, to negotiate. And I found possibilities, Kale. Possibilities for humanity that we could never reach on our own." Kale felt his chest tighten. "Possibilities? What do you mean?" Leora's hands rested on her knees. "There's a civilization out there," she said. "Advanced, peaceful, patient. They've been watching us for a long time, waiting to see if humans are ready. They offered us technology, tools to help humanity thrive, but there's a condition. They wanted someone to decide, someone to choose humanity on its own terms." Kale stared at her. "And you chose me," she nodded. "Yes, because you represent something important. Not power, not strength, not skill, but humanity. Your life here, your choices, your resilience, it matters. And they wanted me to bring that choice back, To find someone who embodies the heart of our species. Kale shook his head. I don't understand. Why me? Because, Leora said quietly, sometimes the ordinary ones are the most extraordinary. You see the world clearly, Kale. You don't crave glory or power. You build, you fix, you care. You're human in the way the universe needs us to be. For a moment, the room was silent. Kale wanted to laugh, to cry, to protest, and to run all at once. Everything he knew about life on Novara 3, about his small, safe existence, seemed suddenly irrelevant. A universe of possibilities had opened, and he was standing at the threshold. You don't have to understand now, Leora continued. Just listen. I've been given the task of offering humanity a chance. And the first step is choosing someone willing to take responsibility, someone who can think beyond themselves. Someone who can be trusted to act with care and courage. Kale ran a hand through his hair. And you think that's me? I know it is, she said, her voice steady, unwavering. Because I've seen it in you, Kale. And because, deep down, I believe you can help us, help humanity. If you say yes, everything changes. If you say no, then this opportunity may pass us by. Kale sat back, feeling the weight of her words press against his chest. For years, life had been quiet, safe, simple. Routine had been a comfort. But now, standing here with Leora, he realized he had been waiting for something like this without even knowing it. Why me? Why not someone else? He asked again. Because sometimes, she said, the universe chooses in ways we can't predict. It chooses who is ready, not who is strongest. And you are ready, Kale, more ready than you know. He swallowed hard. His mind raced. Could he leave the only life he had known? Could he accept the unknown, the vast expanse of possibility she was offering? Fear rose in his chest, but alongside it was a strange exhilaration, a spark he hadn't felt in years. Finally, he found his voice. All right, he said slowly. Tell me everything. Show me what you saw. I'll try to understand. Leora's smile returned, small and triumphant. That's all I need for now, she said. We'll start slow, but Kale, the universe is waiting for us. For the first time in years, Kale felt truly alive. The red sun rose higher over the domes of Novara 3, and for the first time, it felt like the whole universe was opening its doors. And in that moment, he realized that his quiet life, his small routines, his safe existence, were just the beginning. Leora reached out and placed a hand on his shoulder. I chose you, she said again, and now it's time to choose yourself. Kale nodded, uncertain, nervous, but ready. And for the first time, he felt that life on Novara 3 was not the limit, it was the starting line. The day after Leora's sudden arrival, Kale woke with a restless mind. He moved through the familiar motions of his morning routine, but the routines felt hollow now. The hum of the solar panels, the crisp metallic smell of the water filtration system, even the gentle whistling of wind across the plains, all of it seemed smaller, less significant. He kept thinking about her words, I choose you. That simple sentence had opened doors to a world he had never imagined. He had agreed to listen, to understand, and now he felt the weight of the unknown pressing against him. Leora appeared shortly after sunrise, carrying a small metallic case that hummed softly in her hands. Kale noticed immediately that it wasn't any tool he recognized. The metal was smooth, almost alive, and it shimmered in colors that shifted subtly, as if reflecting thoughts rather than light. Good morning, Leora said with a faint smile. I hope you're ready. Kale rubbed his eyes. Ready for what? He asked, though he already knew the answer. For what I promised, she said, setting the case on the table. The humming grew slightly louder. It's time you see what I saw, Kale. It's time to understand the choice you may soon be asked to make. He stepped closer, curiosity battling nerves. What is it? Leora opened the case. Inside rested a small device, no bigger than a loaf of bread, but its surface rippled with energy. Tiny lights pulsed in rhythmic patterns like a heartbeat. Kale reached out instinctively, but Leora stopped him. Not yet, she said gently. You need context first. This is not a weapon. It's not a tool in the way you're used to. It's a gift, but it's also a test. The civilization I encountered wants to see if humanity is ready for the next step. Kale frowned. The next step? What do you mean? Leora sat down across from him, her eyes calm but intense. They have technology that could help humanity thrive, clean energy that lasts generations, systems that can restore ecosystems, knowledge that could heal planets. But they do not give it lightly. They need someone to represent humanity. Someone whose choice is made not for power or profit but for the good of all. Kale's mind whirled. And they want me. You, Leora said, because you are ordinary in all the ways that matter. You care about others, you solve problems creatively, you do not seek fame. You think with your heart as well as your mind. That is rare, Kale, that is human. He shook his head, struggling to take it all in. I'm just me. I fix machines, I tend to systems, I live my life quietly. I do, his voice faltered. I don't know if I can do this. Exactly, Leora said, leaning forward. This is why it matters. The extraordinary isn't always about power. It's about heart, about courage in the small, quiet moments. You may think you're ordinary, but that is exactly why you are the right choice. Kale stared at the device. Its gentle pulsing seemed to echo his own heartbeat. It felt alive, almost aware of him. What do I do with it? He asked finally. First, Leora said, you need to understand it. You cannot activate it by force or guesswork. It responds to thought, to empathy, to creativity. It wants to see humanity reflected in your choices. Kale ran a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. So, it's like a test. Yes, she said, a test and an opportunity, and it will not be easy. It will require trust, focus, and courage you may not even know you have, but I'll guide you. You will not face it alone. They spent the day exploring the device. Kale noticed that it responded differently depending on his emotions. When he was anxious, the lights dimmed. When he focused on solutions to real problems, the lights pulsed brighter. When he thought about the well-being of the colony, the device's surface shimmered with warm, golden light. This is incredible, Kale murmured. It's like it can feel us. Exactly, Leora said. It senses humanity, not power. It reacts to thought, empathy, and creativity. That is why it cannot be rushed. We cannot brute force it. The aliens who built it wanted to ensure humanity could act wisely. Only someone who embodies our best qualities can succeed. Kale spent hours experimenting, and for the first time in his life, he felt truly alive. Every problem he had solved on the colony suddenly mattered in a new way. Fixing a broken water filter, rerouting energy grids, helping neighbors. Each action seemed connected to the device's subtle responses. It was as if all of his small, everyday choices had prepared him for this moment. As the sun dipped low behind the domes, painting the sky in deep shades of orange and purple, Leora spoke again. Kale, tomorrow we begin the real test. You will not leave this planet yet. First, you must understand the principles behind this technology and the responsibility it carries. There are others who will watch, others beyond our solar system. They will judge humanity by what you do with this knowledge. Kale swallowed hard. Others, like aliens. Yes, Leora said softly. They are advanced, patient, and careful. They do not interfere directly, but they observe. They want to see if we can rise to the challenge, if we can act with care, wisdom, and empathy. That is why they sent me back. And why they asked me to choose you. Kale leaned back in his chair, feeling a strange mixture of fear and excitement. This is huge. I don't know if I'm ready for something this big. You are, Leora said. Her voice was steady, unwavering. Because readiness is not about knowing everything. It's about willingness. Willingness to act, to think, to care, and to make choices that reflect humanity at its best. You have that, Kale. I have seen it. The night fell over Novara 3, and Kale couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the device, about Leora's words, about the aliens observing humanity from across the stars. He realized that the quiet, safe life he had known was gone. Nothing would ever be the same. The next morning, Leora returned, this time with a small holographic projector. She activated it, and a three-dimensional map of distant star systems filled the room. Points of light pulsed and shifted, each representing a civilization, a planet, or a source of energy. "These are the systems the aliens monitor," she explained. "They are not hostile, they are curious. They want to see if humanity can join a greater community, one that shares knowledge, resources, and wisdom. But they need assurance that we are ready. That is why this device exists." Kale studied the map, feeling a thrill of possibility. "So, all of this, it's not just about us here on Novara 3. No," Leora said. "It's about humanity as a whole. What you do, what we do could change everything, but it cannot be forced. It cannot be rushed. The device responds only to understanding, care, and creativity. That is the test." Kale felt the enormity of the moment. He had lived a small, quiet life, but now he was standing on the edge of something vast, something greater than himself. Fear tugged at him, but so did excitement. He realized that all the small choices he had made, helping a neighbor, fixing a broken system, taking care of his community, had prepared him for this. "You can do this," Leora said quietly, reading his thoughts. "You just have to believe in yourself and in humanity. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things, Kale. Sometimes that is exactly what the universe needs." Kale nodded, a new resolve rising in his chest. "All right," he said. "I'll try. I don't know if I'll get it right, but I'll try." Leora smiled, and for the first time in years, Kale felt a spark of hope. The universe was wide and strange, full of possibilities, but he was no longer afraid. He had chosen to face it, and somehow that made all the difference. As they prepared to leave the settlement and begin the real test with the device, Kale realized that his life was no longer just about survival or routine. It was about discovery, about growth, and about proving that humanity, small, flawed, ordinary humanity, could rise to meet the stars. And for the first time, he understood what Leora had meant when she said she had chosen him. It was not just about her, or the aliens, or the device. It was about humanity, and he was ready to take the first step. The next morning, Kale woke early, the red sunlight spilling across the domes of Novara 3. He could hear the faint hum of the alien device from the table in the corner of his room. It pulsed softly, as if it had a life of its own. He rubbed his eyes, still unsure how he had arrived at this moment. One day he was an ordinary engineer fixing systems in a small colony. The next, he was entrusted with the responsibility of representing all humanity. Leora appeared at the doorway, carrying a backpack that seemed unusually heavy. She smiled at him, a mixture of reassurance and excitement. "Are you ready, Kale?" she asked. Kale nodded, though his stomach twisted with nervousness. "I think so," he said, "but I don't really know what to expect." "That's part of the test," Leora said as she set the backpack down. "The device is not just about technology. It's about seeing the world as humans see it, about solving problems creatively, and about showing empathy. Today, you'll begin your first challenge." Kale looked at the device, its light pulsing brighter as if sensing his uncertainty. "What kind of challenge?" Leora tapped the side of the device, and a soft holographic projection appeared in the air. It displayed a section of the colony, highlighting various systems: water, energy, agriculture, and communications. Small markers flickered, indicating minor malfunctions. "This is a simulation," she explained. "The device wants to see how you respond to problems that affect real people. You will not be judged on speed alone, but on understanding, creativity, and care. Fixing a system is easy. Caring about the people who rely on it, that is the real test." Kale swallowed hard. He had fixed water filters and rerouted power grids countless times, but this felt different. It was not just about fixing machines. It was about demonstrating human thought, heart, and ingenuity. He took a deep breath and approached the simulation. The first challenge was straightforward, a broken water filtration system. Normally, he would simply replace the filters and recalibrate the flow, but the device responded differently this time. When he focused on the mechanics alone, the lights dimmed. When he paused and considered the people depending on the water, their health, their daily routines, their comfort, the device pulsed warmly. "See," Leora said quietly. "It responds to empathy, not just action." Kale adjusted his approach. He imagined the farmers waiting for water, the children needing clean drinking water, and the colony's plants depending on irrigation. Then he carefully balanced the flow, ensuring efficiency while minimizing waste. The device glowed brighter, and a soft chime echoed through the room. "Good," Leora said. "You're beginning to understand." Next, Kale faced a more complex challenge. The colony's energy grid in the simulation was overloading due to a misaligned solar array. Normally, he would simply adjust the panels or reroute power, but the device required something more. When he tried the mechanical solution first, the lights flickered. When he paused and thought about the colony's energy needs, the people who relied on it for warmth, light, and safety, the device pulsed steadily. Kale realized he had to innovate. Instead of simply realigning the panels, he devised a way to distribute energy more evenly, ensuring that critical systems received priority without shutting down essential services elsewhere. The device's pulsing intensified, colors shifting in vibrant waves across the room. "This is remarkable," Leora said. "You are thinking like a human, not like a machine. That is exactly what it wants to see." By mid-afternoon, Kale began to feel a rhythm. The device responded to every action, every thought. He learned that fear or doubt weakened its response, while confidence, creativity, and care strengthened it. Each problem he solved became more than a technical exercise. It was a reflection of humanity itself. Then came the communication challenge. The simulation projected a network of colony messages, showing small disputes, misunderstandings, and concerns among residents. Normally, Kale might ignore this, focusing on machines rather than people. But the device pulsed weakly when he did. "Humans are more than their technology," Leora reminded him. "The device needs to see your understanding of relationships, empathy, and collaboration." Kale stepped into the projection, visualizing the people in need. He imagined conversations, meditations, and compromises. He sent suggestions to the simulated residents, schedules for shared resources, tips for resolving disagreements, and messages of encouragement. The device's light glowed golden, warm and steady, almost as if it approved. "This is incredible," Kale whispered. It actually feels like it cares." "Exactly," Leora said. "It responds to what makes humans human. Ingenuity, empathy, responsibility. That is why you are here. You embody those qualities." As the sun set outside, painting the domes in shades of orange and purple, Kale faced the final challenge of the day, a combination of all systems. Water, energy, communications. Everything had small problems that affected each other. The device's light pulsed nervously, as if testing his composure. Kale felt the familiar knot of anxiety in his stomach. He could easily focus on one system at a time, but the device demanded something greater. It required understanding the connections, seeing the bigger picture, and anticipating the effects of each decision. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He imagined the colony as a living organism, each part supporting the other. Water flows nourished the plants, which fed the people, who maintained the systems, who cared for each other. Every choice had consequences. Every action rippled outward. Carefully, Kale began to adjust the simulation. He balanced the energy grid, ensuring critical systems remained online while optimizing efficiency. He fine-tuned water distribution to conserve resources and protect the colony's crops. He resolved communication disputes, suggesting solutions that respected each person's needs. The device pulsed brighter and brighter, colors swirling in intricate patterns. Kale felt a surge of exhilaration. For the first time, he realized that he was not just solving problems. He was representing humanity, showing what humans could do when they thought carefully, cared deeply, and acted wisely. Leora watched silently, a proud smile on her face. "You are doing it, Kale," she said softly. "You are showing the device what humanity is capable of." Hours passed, and Kale's focus never wavered. As he completed the final adjustments, the device glowed with a steady, brilliant light, pulsing like a heartbeat. He stepped back, exhausted but exhilarated. The device's soft chime filled the room as if acknowledging his success. "You did it," Leora said. "You passed the first test. The device has sensed your understanding, empathy, and ingenuity. It sees humanity in you." Kale sank into a chair, his mind spinning. I can't believe it. I was just doing what felt right. I didn't even know it would matter." "That's the point," Leora said. "It's not about knowing everything. It's about acting with care, thinking creatively, and showing your humanity. You've done that, Kale. You've shown that humans can rise to challenges that seem impossible." Kale smiled, a mixture of relief and pride washing over him. For the first time in his life, he felt that he was part of something bigger, something that truly mattered. The quiet, predictable life he had known was gone, replaced by a universe of possibility. As the night deepened, Leora packed the device carefully back into its case. "Tomorrow we move to the next stage," she said. "It will be harder. The challenges will test not just your skills, but your judgment, creativity, and compassion even more." Kale nodded, excitement and determination rising in his chest. "I'm ready," he said. "Whatever comes next, I'll face it." Leora smiled, her eyes reflecting the faint glow of the device. "Good. Humanity's future may rest in your hands, Kale, but remember, you are not alone. I am with you, and you carry the strength of all the humans who came before." Kale looked out the window, across the barren plains of Novara 3. The red-orange sky stretched infinitely, filled with possibilities he had never imagined. Somewhere beyond those stars, civilizations watched, waiting to see what humanity could do. And for the first time, Kale felt ready. He was not just an engineer, a neighbor, or a quiet colonist. He was a human capable of extraordinary things. The night air was cool against his skin as he stepped outside. For a moment he closed his eyes and breathed in the stillness, the hum of the planet, the soft pulsing of the device nearby. Everything felt alive, connected, meaningful. Kale realized that the journey was only beginning. The first test was complete, but the real challenges lay ahead. The universe was waiting, and humanity had a chance to prove itself. And somehow, deep down, Kale knew that with care, creativity, and courage, humans could rise to meet it. And so, as the twin moons of Novara 3 rose into the sky, Kale felt a spark of hope, excitement, and determination. The adventure was only beginning, and he was ready to face it head-on. The sun had barely risen over Novara 3 when Kale woke, a strange mix of excitement and nervousness coursing through him. Yesterday's exercises with the alien device had been challenging, but they had also filled him with an unfamiliar sense of pride. He had discovered that his small, everyday skills, problem-solving, empathy, careful thinking, could matter in ways he had never imagined. Yet today, Leora warned him, would be different. "Today," she said, her voice steady but serious, "you will face the hardest challenge yet. It will test your ingenuity, your empathy, and your judgment all at once. The device will put everything you know to the test." This is where humanity is truly observed, Kale. Kale swallowed hard. He had felt confident after the previous exercises, but now a weight pressed on his shoulders. The stakes were no longer theoretical. The device would observe not just actions, but decisions that could reflect on all of humanity. The device was set on the table, its surface pulsing with soft golden light. Leora activated it, and a large holographic projection filled the room. This time, it was not a simple simulation of the colony. The projection spanned the entire planet, showing cities, farms, communication networks, and energy grids. Streams of data flowed between them like glowing rivers, highlighting interconnections and dependencies. The challenge, Leora explained, is to maintain balance. Systems will fail, problems will multiply, and you must find solutions that benefit the greatest number of people while keeping the planet stable. The device will respond to your reasoning, your creativity, and your empathy. Hurry will not help, careful thought will. Kale stepped forward and took a deep breath. He had never seen a problem this complex. Thousands of variables intertwined, and every choice he made would ripple across the planet. One small mistake could affect thousands of lives. He began with the water supply. A sudden shortage appeared in the hologram, affecting several farming regions. Normally, he could reroute water quickly, but the device pulsed weakly when he attempted a mechanical solution alone. He realized he needed a different approach. He paused and imagined the farmers, their families, and the crops depending on him. Then he began to adjust water flows carefully, prioritizing regions based on need while preserving the planet's aquifers. The device glowed brighter, its pulsing steady. Next, the energy network showed signs of overload. Power surges threatened to shut down critical systems, including communication hubs and hospitals in the simulation. Kale could have simply rerouted energy, but the device dimmed when he acted impulsively. He paused, thinking about the people relying on energy for warmth, light, and communication. Then he devised a plan to distribute power efficiently, creating temporary storage reserves and backup channels. It required creativity, understanding, and balance, but the device responded immediately, sending golden pulses of approval. Kale's heart raced as he realized the device's true lesson. It was not just about solving problems, it was about thinking like a human. Every choice, every adjustment reflected not only skill but care, judgment, and empathy. Hours passed as Kale tackled challenge after challenge. Crop failures, communication breakdowns, and sudden climate shifts appeared in the hologram. Each problem tested his creativity and moral judgment. The device responded differently depending on his focus. If he acted with compassion, the glow strengthened. If he acted hastily or selfishly, it dimmed. By midday, Kale's mind ached. He had never faced anything like this. The sheer complexity of managing an entire planet's systems was overwhelming. Yet through it all, he noticed something remarkable. The device seemed to encourage collaboration. It pulsed brighter when he thought about consulting experts, seeking advice, or sharing resources. Kale realized that the device valued human traits beyond intelligence, cooperation, humility, and understanding. He began to factor these into his decisions. He simulated discussions among leaders, listened to the concerns of the colony's residents, and devised solutions that balanced everyone's needs. The golden light of the device shimmered and danced across the room, responding to his careful thought. Late in the afternoon, the simulation presented the final, most difficult problem. A sudden ecological imbalance appeared. A series of artificial lakes that sustained crops and communities were drying up unexpectedly. If left unchecked, the collapse would affect thousands of lives. Kale stared at the holographic map, overwhelmed. He could attempt a simple technical fix, but the device pulsed weakly at first. He remembered Leora's words. The device responded to creativity, empathy, and wisdom, not speed. He closed his eyes and imagined the people depending on the lakes, the animals, and the crops. He imagined how each action could ripple outward, affecting the entire ecosystem. Then slowly, he began to experiment. He rerouted water flows carefully, balancing the needs of each community and preserving natural systems. He added imaginative solutions, small reservoirs to store excess water, channels to prevent flooding, and subtle adjustments to the local environment to encourage natural balance. As he worked, the device pulsed brighter and brighter. The light swirled like a living entity, golden threads weaving around him. He felt a warmth spreading through his chest, a sense of connection to the planet, the colony, and all of humanity. He was no longer just solving a problem, he was shaping the future. Finally, he took a step back. The planet and the hologram stabilized, systems balanced, and every community's needs were met. The device pulsed steadily, brighter than ever before, as if acknowledging his success. Kale sank into a chair, exhausted but exhilarated. "You've done it," Leora said, her voice soft but full of pride. "The device has recognized your judgment, creativity, and empathy. It sees humanity through you, Kale. You've passed the most difficult challenge yet." Kale felt a mixture of relief, pride, and awe. He realized that the test had not been about the device. It had been about him, about humans, about how ordinary people could rise to extraordinary challenges. I didn't know I could do it," Kale admitted. "It felt impossible at first." "That is exactly why it matters," Leora said. "Humans often doubt themselves, but your choices proved that we are capable of thinking beyond ourselves, acting with care, and solving problems creatively. That is the essence of humanity. That is why you were chosen." Kale looked out the window, watching the twin moons of Novara 3 rise over the horizon. For the first time, he saw his small life in a larger context. Every fix he had made on the colony, every problem he had solved, every person he had helped, they had prepared him for this moment. Ordinary humans, acting with care and ingenuity, could achieve extraordinary things. Leora approached him and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Tomorrow," she said, "we begin the final phase. You've shown that you understand the principles, Kale, but now you will see how your choices affect the larger universe. It will be even more challenging, and the stakes will be higher than anything you've faced so far." Kale nodded, a sense of calm determination settling over him. "I understand. I'm ready for whatever comes next." "Good," Leora said, smiling, "because this is where humanity's potential will truly be measured, and I have no doubt you will rise to the occasion." As night fell over the colony, Kale stayed by the window, thinking about the vast universe beyond Novara 3. He thought about the alien civilization observing humanity, the countless possibilities waiting among the stars, and the responsibility now resting on his shoulders. It was daunting, yes, but also thrilling. For the first time, he felt that he was not just a small part of the colony, but a representative of humanity itself. Kale realized that the journey was far from over. The challenges ahead would test his ingenuity, empathy, and judgment even more. But he felt ready. He had learned that being human meant more than surviving. It meant thinking creatively, caring deeply, and acting responsibly. And with those qualities, he could rise to meet the universe itself. As he turned to rest, Kale felt a spark of hope, excitement, and determination. The final phase awaited, and he knew that this was the moment where everything would come together: the lessons, the choices, the courage, and the heart of humanity. And he was ready. Kale woke to the pale light of Novara 3 morning sun spilling through the domed window. Today felt different. There was a tension in the air, a quiet energy that made his heart race. The past days of training with Leora and the alien device had prepared him for this, but nothing could fully prepare him for what lay ahead. Leora entered the room carrying the device, now slightly larger and more complex than when he first saw it. The surface pulsed with soft golden light, brighter and more intricate than ever before. "Are you ready, Kale?" she asked. Her eyes were calm, but there was a hint of anticipation in her expression. Kale nodded, trying to steady his racing heart. I think I'm ready." "This is it," Leora said. "The final stage. The device will now show you the universe as a whole, not just Novara 3, not just humanity's colonies, but the larger galactic community. Your choices today will determine not just survival, but the growth, harmony, and future of humanity among the stars." Kale swallowed hard. He had imagined challenges before, problems to solve, systems to balance. but seeing the universe as a living, interconnected whole was overwhelming. Holograms of distant planets, stars, and civilizations surrounded him. Streams of light connected them, pulsing with energy and information. Every world seemed alive, every life interconnected. "The device will guide you," Leora explained. "It will show you problems, conflicts, opportunities. You must respond using humanity's strengths, creativity, empathy, cooperation, and moral judgment. It will not allow rash choices. It will measure your understanding of balance between life, growth, and care." Kale stepped closer. His first challenge appeared immediately. A distant planet's ecosystem was collapsing due to rapid overdevelopment. The projection showed forests disappearing, rivers drying, and communities struggling. Kale could see the consequences clearly: famine, migration, and loss of life. He paused, feeling the weight of responsibility. Unlike the simulations on Novara 3, this was not hypothetical. The device reacted not only to solutions but to his thinking process, his care for life. Kale considered the planet as a whole. He did not rush to act. Instead, he imagined the people, the animals, the plants, and the planet itself. Then he began designing a plan that balanced growth with preservation, reorganizing settlements, restoring water channels, and encouraging sustainable practices. The device pulsed brightly, acknowledging his thoughtful approach. "Good," Leora said softly. "You are demonstrating humanity's ability to care for life beyond immediate needs." The next challenge came quickly. A distant star system was at risk of energy instability. The projection showed the stars, energy fluxes threatening several planets, orbiting satellites. Kale could have attempted a simple technical fix, but the device dimmed slightly when he first tried. He realized that technical skill alone was not enough. He paused, thinking about the civilizations dependent on stable energy, habitats, communication networks, medical facilities. Then he devised a plan that distributed energy carefully, using natural stellar currents, balancing the needs of each planet without causing harm. The device pulsed steadily, glowing brighter than before. Kale felt a thrill. This was not just problem-solving, this was stewardship. The device seemed almost alive, responding to the ethical, creative, and empathetic layers of his thinking. Hours passed, and challenges came in rapid succession: ecological crises, resource shortages, communication breakdowns, and social dilemmas. Kale responded thoughtfully, sometimes hesitating to consider all consequences, sometimes innovating in ways he never imagined. Leora guided him quietly, reminding him to trust his instincts and consider the human element in every choice. By midday, Kale's mind ached, but he had begun to understand the device in a new way. It did not merely reward solutions, it rewarded humanity itself: our creativity, our empathy, our willingness to cooperate, and our ability to care for others. Every action Kale took reflected not just himself but the potential of humanity as a whole. The final challenge appeared as the sun dipped toward the horizon. A series of interconnected crises spanned multiple star systems: an energy imbalance threatening planetary stability, ecological collapse on several planets, and emerging conflicts among different civilizations over shared resources. Kale felt the enormity of it all pressing down on him. He remembered Leora's words: "The universe measures humanity by our choices, not our power. Wisdom, empathy, and creativity matter more than speed or strength." Kale closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He imagined each planet, each civilization, each individual life. He thought of Novara 3, of the people he had helped, of Leora, and of the countless humans across the stars. Then he began to act. He carefully balanced resources, proposed fair agreements between civilizations, restored ecosystems using innovative but safe methods, and ensured that communication and cooperation flourished. Each decision sent ripples through the device, causing it to pulse brighter, the colors shifting like sunlight on water. Hours passed as Kale worked tirelessly, never rushing, never panicking, always thinking about the larger consequences. Finally, he stepped back. The projection stabilized. The universe, as shown by the device, was balanced and thriving. The pulsing light filled the room, warm, steady, and brilliant. "You did it," Leora said, her voice trembling slightly with pride. "The device has accepted your choices. You have demonstrated humanity's strengths, Kale: ingenuity, empathy, moral judgment, and cooperation. You have shown that humanity is ready." Kale felt a wave of relief and awe. He had done it. He had represented all humans, using his knowledge, creativity, and care. And somehow he had succeeded. It's real," he whispered. "I never imagined, I never thought I could. This is bigger than anything I've ever done." Leora placed a hand on his shoulder. "That is the point, Kale. You did not seek glory, and yet you achieved it. You acted as a true human, thoughtful, creative, caring. That is what makes us extraordinary. That is why I chose you." Kale looked out at the holographic universe, seeing the balance he had helped create. It was beautiful, harmonious, and alive. He felt a deep connection to humanity, to the people he had never met, and to the universe itself. Leora continued, "The device will now integrate its knowledge with humanity. The technology, the guidance, the opportunities, it will be shared with those who act with care and responsibility. You've opened the door, Kale, but it is humanity that will walk through it." Kale realized the truth of her words. This was not about him alone. It was about humanity as a whole. His choices had reflected the potential of the species, and now that potential could be realized on a cosmic scale. The night fell over Nova 3, and the twin moons rose, casting silver light over the colony. Kale stepped outside with Leora. For the first time, he felt truly part of something immense, something greater than himself. "Tomorrow," Leora said softly, "the device will begin to share its knowledge with humanity. New technologies, new possibilities, new ways to thrive." "It is a new beginning," Kale nodded. "I understand, it's beautiful. We can really grow, really change things for the better." "Yes," Leora said, "and it all began because you chose to act with care, creativity, and empathy. Ordinary humans can do extraordinary things, Kale." "You've proven that." Kale looked at her and smiled. "I couldn't have done it without you." "You didn't need me," Leora said gently. "I only guided you. The strength, the choices, the heart, it was all yours. You showed the universe what humans are capable of." As they walked back to the dome, Kale felt a sense of calm and purpose. The trials were over, the device had accepted his choices, and humanity's potential had been unlocked. The universe was vast, full of unknowns and opportunities, and now humans could step forward with hope, ingenuity, and care. Kale realized that he had grown, not just as an engineer or a neighbor, but as a human being capable of extraordinary things. He had faced challenges beyond comprehension and succeeded through thought, empathy, and determination. And in doing so, he had shown that ordinary people, humans, could rise to meet the stars. Standing outside under the twin moons, Kale took a deep breath. He looked up at the vast sky, imagining the civilizations watching, the stars sparkling with potential, and the countless possibilities ahead. He knew humanity had a role in the larger universe, a chance to grow, thrive, and cooperate, and somehow he felt ready for it. Leora stood beside him, quiet but smiling. "Are you ready to see what comes next?" she asked. Kale nodded, feeling a spark of excitement. "I am. Whatever the universe has for us, I'm ready." And for the first time, Kale felt the full weight of possibility, the potential of humanity, the promise of the stars, and the extraordinary journey that had begun with a simple choice. "I choose you." For humanity, this was only the beginning.